the government.
Right.
You know, a lot of people think that you can air it towards the mayor, you can air it towards the governor or the president. You can air it towards the
Anybody
police
you
division
want.
of the government.
Just be mindful as to what you say. Don't come off like you're threatening somebody.
Right. Well, you can't say fighting words or
Right,
anything like that,
right.
but you can certainly call him a piece of shit
Right.
for shooting a dog that shouldn't have been shot.
Yeah.
I mean, and it happens quite often. I mean, you'd be really surprised.
And one thing I learned: don't hurt the animals.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't hurt.
It is the biggest way to lose your political career.
And I'm going to disclose this a little information. So back in the early 90s, I lived in Middlebrook Apartments down in Ocean Township. That's on the corner of Deal Road and 35. And they had a big problem with stray cats. I mean, they were everywhere.
Oh yeah, and they
Even
still
now.
are.
So I was in with the upper echelons over at the apartment. So what basically did, they were paying me to try. They went and got the cages, and they got the cat food, and I would put the food in there, and we were trapping all these stray cats, and they're vicious and loaded with fleas.
Yeah, they're
sick
feral,
with the
The stuff with the eyes out.
yeah, and I remember this one little kitten that I found, and it was sick, and I said, oh boy. Now, at the time we were trapping the cats, we had put a notice out on everybody's door that if you let your cat outside, make sure it has a collar on it. If it has a collar on it, we'll let it go. I did trap one cat that was very friendly. We didn't take it away. I kept it in the boiler room. It was warm, and somebody called up and said, yeah, we have the cat, and I brought it over there. So at that time, the SPCA was taking these animals and putting them down, and whether I agree with it or not, I don't agree in killing animals, but we had a problem because what's your other choice? Is if you can neuter them and let them go again.
Yeah, trap, neuter, release.
Right. But what was happening is there was people at the complex that were feeding these animals, and I used to say, look, you know, if you're worried about the animal, take it in, because all it's going to do is multiply and make more, and more are going to suffer.
And if you're feeding it, it's yours. So, and then all of a sudden they go, oh my God, this feral cat has babies. Well, it's your cat, you're feeding it.
Right. But people would like yell, hey, cat killer, and things like that. And I was like, first of all, I'm not the one killing the cats. I said, and if you're so worried about the cats, take the cats in with you. And one of the big problems that caused the problem was that the dumpsters they have sliding doors.
Yeah.
So they had a food supply all the time.
Of course, yeah. Well,
I
you're also
stopped
feeding
counting around 225.
It's a lot of cats.
That was a lot of cats.
It's a lot of cats. I mean, now they have trap, neuter, and release programs
Yeah.
in most of the towns, but, you know, again, Ross has a trap, neuter, and release program, but every town
person.
pays for, and he's got one person trapping, and if the towns don't want the animals back, he's releasing them into the dump. Who's taking care of the colony? It's defeating the entire purpose.
So he's letting the wildcats go in the dump.
Yep.
Yep.
The whole purpose of trap, neuter, and release is you're supposed to have a colony caretaker. So let's say I'm the colony caretaker. I've got 7 cats in my backyard that I take care of. Uh-oh, one day I come out, there's cat 8 out there.
And
Cat 8's not mine.
So you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
The ear's not tipped, it's not mine. So I wait. Cat 8 comes back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, Friday, cat is getting trapped and going and being fixed. That's how it gets done. And then he becomes part of my colony. You know what I mean? But that's not what they're doing. They're picking up when you can get them to pick up. I mean, because they're getting a lot of money to do trap, neuter, and release, plus all the grants they're getting, and they're not doing it. So you have little old ladies. I had an 82-year-old woman. An 82-year-old woman called me about trap, neuter, and release. And that it's not getting done. It's just not getting done. I had a 70-year-old woman call me. She's like, I've been trapping cats for 5 years, and my town is paying the Monmouth County SPCA to do this, and I'm trapping them. I'm paying money out of my own pocket. I've had at least a dozen people call me about
Now,
the
when I was
trap
involved with that, the ASPC, the Humane Society, got
AHS.
involved.
AHS, yeah.
Now they're claiming that they went and they investigated because somebody called and complained. So they go down in the crawl space. So what do they find down there? They find an empty cat can and they find a bug bomb dispenser. Oh, they're gassing cats. Nobody's gassing the
Lord.
cats. The supers put bug bombs down there to kill the fleas and the cockroaches and everything and down there. Yeah. And then when I'm down there trapping, I leave a can of an empty cat can behind.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a whole big ruckus, and the only thing that made it blow over is that the person that owns the property is the second highest taxpayer in town and was friends with the chief, and it all got
Right.
because nobody was out there
You're not gonna gas them with that.
No,
anyway.
you're not going to
Gas
guess
and
them that
cats.
anyway. They're going to run. As soon as they smell that, they're out.
Right,
They're out.
exactly. So, and when what we did, once we were done trapping, we knew there's no cats in the crawl space, we boarded all the,
Right.
Right.
because that's where they were living, down
Right.
there.
Right.
And it was out of control. But again, back to my thing about animals. Don't screw with the animals. Leave them alone.
It is the biggest political nightmare
Right.
for you. If you are a mayor, a politician, a board of health director, a commissioner, your biggest Achilles heel is to go against the animal people.
Yeah.
Because animal people are not Democratic and animal people are not Republican. They're bipartisan. They don't care.
And they're
You could
very
be-
empathetic, and they're
You
very.
could be the biggest dirtbag on the planet, but if you're going to save the animal, they're voting for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're not.
He's gonna
we're,
have a
we're
problem.
Republicans, but we'll go after you if you're a Republican. Kelly Yady was Republican.
And
take care of the animals.
and you can never go wrong. See, I was going to make a list of all my famous statements. I got a lot. You can never go wrong in a picture if you have a little kid in it or an animal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
do
of
it for
course,
the
you see
animals,
the
do it
cops
for the
doing it
kids.
all the
Well,
time.
and listen, best calendars that sell, half-naked firemen holding a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
They will sell $100,000 worth of calendars because you got a half-naked fireman holding a puppy.
Wow. Now, I think it was last year when Ross was going up for re-election, the Democratic clown, he had a picture of him with the dog.
Mhm.
And I got on his ass, says, you're not going to win with the dog, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It had to do with he was going up against Kylie. And I said to him, I says, you're not going to win that way. You got to go after this clown, okay? She took some bribe money. She's done some shady stuff.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, you know, we can go. Hopefully, this guy resigns, but
That's the
supposedly
goal.
Commissioners and everybody are backing him up. But it was on 101.5, I think, today. It was on a couple other
Yeah,
radio
It's
stations.
gaining traction.
It's
You know-
gaining traction, yeah. And 101.5 had it on this morning. What's his name?
Bill Spadia.
Bill Spady had it on his show this morning and actually played a clip
Oh,
of
he's
it.
running for something too.
He's running for
Governor.
governor.
Yeah.
And then 107.1 had it on also.
Mhm.
So they also had a clip about it. So I mean, it's actually picking up. I'm a little surprised News 12 hasn't picked it up, but then
Yep.
again, from what I understand, there's some connections there.
Well, here's the
between-
deal that I
News
kind of with
12
some of
and-
these newspapers, they don't want to cross the line too far
Correct.
because then they don't get interviews and things.
Right.
Where
Yeah.
you and I,
Right, but-
we don't give a rat's ass.
Yeah, I
what
don't
these-
care.
Right.
I don't care if
and,
it- I
but
don't-
the thing is,
doesn't matter to
there
me.
is no investigative journalism anymore.
No.
That's why we're
Right.
popping up, the guys on YouTube and the girls on YouTube, because we'll go ask those questions, and yeah, we'll look like clowns, I guess, at some point. But we're the ones that actually asking the questions and demanding answers, and they just walk away because we're not, News 12 or
I
ABC,
was called
and
every
nobody
name
cares.
in the book when I was doing the NJSPCA thing. I
That's
was
the biggest
called-
thing is
I
they
was
smear
called
you.
nuts. I was called crazy. I was called insane.
Oh yeah, I
They
get it
put out
too.
there that I was stealing
Well,
from
they
my
smear you.
organization. and
Yeah,
that's
I'm
exactly
I'm
what
living
they
in
were
my
doing.
mother's basement, and
Yeah.
I'm a keyboard warrior.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's the whole thing. If
And
if I could smear you and make you look crazy or animal nut or living in your basement, then nobody will pay attention to you. Hopefully.
I got that today, guys. He didn't like something I said.
And it's the personal attack. They go right for the personal
Yep.
attack.
Right,
There's
it's
nothing
just,
intelligent.
Oh,
it's just
you're a
personal
real
attack.
tough guy. You hiding in your basement behind a keyboard. And I says, really? I says, I have a very successful YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And
Oh, we go to commissioners' meetings. I go to
Right.
regular meetings all the time. I'm at my meeting in Spotswood at like every time that they're, and I actually go live on there, so everybody that can't make it can actually see
No, that
it
was a
and-
big
and-
help for
and
me.
participate.
because I went and I watched that. So, yeah, and then the other one I get attacked that I hate cops. No, I don't hate cops.
I don't like bad cops.
I don't like bad cops. Quite frankly, I don't want any government enforcers around me. If I need you, I'll call you. That's my opinion with police. They're necessary evil. They represent the government, okay, and government enforcement.
Correct.
And
It's a law enforcement division of
so
the government.
how it's the strong arm of the government.
Yep.
So how trusting in them am I supposed to be? But I get told that I hate cops and all. How do I hate cops? Because I reported a cop had sex with a kid and had sex with a dog, that he raped a woman and
Yeah, or if you need a cop, don't bother.
Oh, I
calling.
get that.
I pay taxes. Why can't I call?
well, my response to that is, well, who's going to take the report?
Right, and a lot of times that's all they do is
That's all they do.
overpaid meter maids, where they
And-
come out and just make a report, Here you go. Your house got robbed.
Well, I don't know
Here's
if you
the report.
noticed lately, and I, you know, these revelations. Not that they're revelations, but you know, the cops like to put out their little propaganda list of arrests for the month. And if you go down a list, and this really had to do with me with Homedale, because they're right in my crosshairs,
Right.
Homedale. And you see that they had, you know, it'll be a list. So I go down with it, and you'll find that majority of it stems from a motor vehicle stop. Motor vehicle stop generates revenue,
Yep.
and it generates arrests. Revenue is good for the town, the arrest is good for the officer, and it's good for the chief because he can brag about all the people he got off
Correct.
the street.
Well, what's the ratio of them issuing a summons and then finding somebody guilty? I bet you.
Well, they do that with the
are low.
DWI checkpoint that they get there and they brag about. Now, you know, I followed that a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And I got the officers' reports and all because I was told by that schmuck down there in Allenhurst PD, Schneider, that, oh no, it's not about law, and it's not about revenue enforcement with Motor Vehicle Title 39. And, well, that's a lie.
Yep.
Because they were giving tickets out. And then they brag about that they caught this many people. Well, get back to me when they've been convicted.
Right, and that's my thing. Is what's your ratio? Yeah, you're giving a lot of tickets out or summonses, but how many of them are being found guilty, and how many of them are just people pleading guilty because you're telling them you're going to get 5 years in jail if you don't plead to this, and you go, well, I'm not guilty, but I have to plead because I don't want 5 years in jail.
And you don't have money to get a high fancy lawyer. And if you got a public defendant, he's just a deal maker. That's all
Right.
he is. And
Well, this is part of the problem with the SPCA too, is that they take on the only cruelty cases that they'll take. So they're supposed to go out on every cruelty
Right.
case. They don't.
Nope.
They go out most
I
of the
remember
time.
saying to Matt Tim one time that I said, you know, all the money we're spending in the SPCA, it'd be cheaper just to house these animals somewhere
Yes.
and tell the people, look, if you don't want the animal, just drop it off. We won't ask no questions. It'd be cheaper to, and then have, because I'm thinking, I says, how many animal abuse cases in Monmouth County do we have a year that warrants this kind of
Well, the problem is
money?
that you have a lot. The issue is that they don't go out on half of them.
what is a lot?
So, I mean, you're talking in a small town. I mean, even in this town, for instance.
Well, I'm talking about county-wise.
Right, but
What-
county-wise, I mean, I'd have to look at the numbers. I'd have to pull up the statistics on it. But, I mean, it's a lot. It's thousands of cases. It's not, you know, one or two. It's literally thousands of cases. A lot of it's dog fighting. You get into, you know, some of the...
Well, I guess it depends on what town. If
Right.
you're
Yeah,
in
we
a
have-
town
I mean,
where
you're
you're going to
gonna-
have that,
In Colts Neck, you're not going to have anything.
because they
very
got
far.
money and
You
they
know,
take care of the horses.
Asbury Park and Neptune, different story.
Right.
You
Yep.
know what I mean? So it's just a matter of where you go. I mean,
Now,
you
is it
could go
true
in-
there's a lot of, what's that dog, pit bulls a lot in the SPCA type of thing? Is there a lot
Well,
of-
that's all over though. It doesn't matter where you go. There's always pit bulls are the number one breed of dog that people want. They're also the number one breed of dog that they abuse, and they're also the number one breed of dog that they dump.
yeah.
So it's
Now, where I live, I see a lot of Labradoodles running around. That's like the,
well, yeah.
That's the new
again,
dog
it
for the
do-
well-to-do.
It depends on what town you live in. I mean, you go into Neptune, you're going to find nothing but pit bulls. You go into Asbury Park, you're going to find pit bulls. You go into Colts Neck, you're going to find Labradoodles and Foofy dogs.
Yeah, fashion
You know what I
dogs.
mean? You go
Yeah.
into Colts Neck and you're
Yeah.
going to find all these cute little dogs that they paid $8,000 for because that's what they do there. You know, you go into a middle class town and you're going to find, you know, your mutts that they pulled out of the shelters. You know, you're going to find your pit bull mixes. You're going to find your
now,
hound mixes. your
another
beagle
one that gets up
mixes.
my, well, there's a lot of things, which is why I'm going to start a new channel where I can rant and rave because,
That would be a good name for the channel, Rant and Rave.
rant and rave.
There you go.
There you go. It's a new channel right there, Rant and Rave.
I got to see if anybody else on YouTube's got, because I was trying to come up with a name of it.
Rant and Rave and Repeat.
So, what was I
I
talking
mean, most of the dogs in Monmouth County at the shelter, you think you're going to adopt a shelter animal and rescuing something from Monmouth County. Meanwhile, it's from
Puerto Rico or something.
Puerto Rico,
North Carolina,
North
South
Carolina,
Georgia.
So we're clearing whose shelters. So
And we're not
and-
fixing the problem down there.
Right.
I
My
wouldn't have
biggest
an
issue.
Well, the other thing is, if you're taking another shelter's dog, we're now paying for this dog. Is that
well, it's
town?
continuing the cycle. So in, let's say, North Carolina, they don't have really strict
No.
laws. So I'm going to be a backyard breeder. I'm going to breed five puppies. I'm going to sell 3 of them. 2 of them I can't. So I dump them into the thing, and then they send them to us. So that cycle just keeps on going. Instead of them going, stop the backyard breeding in North Dakota or South Dakota, wherever it is, because now Jersey ain't taking us anymore. So like now we have to figure out in-house what we're going to do, because we don't have an outlet anymore. So stop the
It's a very
backyard
simple
breeders.
solution.
Stop
If a
it all.
backyard breeder goes into a shelter and says, I bred 5 puppies. I could only sell 3. Here's 2.
Mhm.
You look at them and you go, that's fine. We'll take your 2 puppies, but we have to spay your mother.
Yep.
Now another one, I guess, which I was going to say, is you'll see at the park, we found this puppy, this little guy down the road. Oh, I'll take him if
Yep.
nobody wants him.
Yep.
And I go in and I go, well, you know what? There's the animal shelter has plenty of dogs down there that need a home, forever home. I said, you just want this dog because he's cute and cuddly?
Right.
And because it made news. A lot of times
That's the
people
big
want
thing too. Like
the
when you get a big
newsworthy
hoarding
stuff.
case, when they had that hoarding case of 325, I think it was 325 dogs in Howell, they had 10,000 people on their waiting list
Yep.
for those dogs because they could walk around and say, oh, I have one of the hoarding dogs
Yep.
from the hoarding case in
Yeah.
Howell and how abused they were. Well, I've got 3 dogs inside that were
These
abused.
people, they get mad at me when I call them out. I says, there's plenty of
Yeah.
dogs that need a home. Not this dog has a home, okay?
And they're bursting at the seams right
But the
now.
Monmouth
with
County
the amount of
SPCA
dogs.
has municipal contracts to do animal control
Right.
or to do sheltering. They should not be taking dogs from anywhere else.
Correct.
Anywhere. You're taking my tax dollars, well, not mine because I don't live down there anymore, but when I lived down in Monmouth County, you're taking my tax dollars to pay somebody to drive to North Carolina to transport those dogs
Oh, they
back up
drive
here.
down and pick 'em
Oh,
up?
yeah, they drive
They
down.
don't bring 'em up?
No. They drive down, they pick them up, they bring them back up here. Now we have to pay to do heartworm tests, deworming.
Oh, you got to
Your-
pay for the
we gotta
maintenance
pay
of
for
the
everything.
vehicle. The guy's got to stay in a
Exactly.
motel. He's not coming back. I've
Exactly.
driven to North Carolina. I know
But
what
that's
it's
your
like.
tax dollars that are paying for them to do that so that they can make more money when in fact we already have a
Now, the
shelter busting
SPCA,
at the
do they
seams.
make money on the dogs that they...
I can't see how they're really making, I can't see how anybody's really making money.
Now, what about the
Well,
Humane Society?
According
They-
to Ross, though, he said to me when I was complaining about this, well, you know, it's a whole industry that we're supporting. You know, we're making money on that, but you know, it's adoption fees because we're not
Right.
selling them. But then you have, you know, the pet stores that are making money on all the different accessories that you're buying. The veterinarians that are making money on having dogs come in.
with them charging a fee and a decent amount. I mean, I
well,
think
one of
they're
the things
getting-
that does, it weeds out the person who really
it weeds
wants
out
an
the
animal.
crap, and the thing is that if you're paying $600, I can tell you right now, if I found a puppy down the street and you said, hey, I want to take the puppy home, I will guarantee you that when you go to the vet, you are spending way more than the $600 to get
Yeah.
that dog
So
fixed,
how much does
shots.
so if I go on the SPCA and I want to get a dog, what's it cost me?
It depends. It usually goes by the age, and most of the shelters do that. So, like, if it's a puppy, I think they're like $600, and as it goes up,
Holy shit!
yeah, it's like $600. But again, it's coming with you, and I'm not going to take away from them on this. It comes with the shots. It comes spay or neutered. You know, so a spay or neuter alone at a regular vet will cost you $600. So I'm not going to take that away from them. But at the same time, you're transporting in all of these puppies on the
So
taxpayer's
I'm
dime.
flabbergasted by this because I haven't adopted a dog in years.
I mean, you could probably get a pit bull for $100, but if you're getting a
But
puppy
you're telling me the average price for a young dog,
at the Monmouth County SPCA is about $600.
do they advertise this on their Facebook page?
No.
So this is why, see me, I thought like $75, all right, that would weed me right out.
It
That
would weed us
the-
out. It would
that
weed
would
us
weed
out.
the average person, because the person's gonna say, why would I spend $600 for a mutt when I go to the dog store over here and get a breed with papers
Right.
for probably the same amount of money or a few bucks more?
I mean,
Right.
it would weed us out. I would not go. I would not pay $600 to a
I wouldn't
county
either.
shelter for, for a dog that you
I
brought
mean,
up
I
from
can
down
stand
south.
if it was $75, $100, or I paid for the shot and paid for the chip and whatever else. But and then the lesser dogs, nobody's gonna buy a
No,
dog.
that's why there's nothing but pit bulls in there. Because they bring the puppies up from down south and they sell those. If they get a foofy dog in there, somebody turns
And
in
the
a foofy dog,
dysfunctional dogs, like the dog there that was in
shy
question,
baby.
that had problems, nobody's gonna take. See, like me, I would go in and say, all right, show me the dog's been here the
Well,
longest.
that's what we do. I mean,
Yeah.
we would walk in there and be like, okay, give me the dog that's been here the longest with the biggest medical conditions. That's going to cost me the most money for the rest of my life. I'll take that one because nobody else is taking
Right.
the dog.
It's like when I go to Lowe's. I'm a big cactus plant nut, and I see a cactus plant that was kind of mangled up. I take it because I know nobody's gonna get
And you
it.
can fix it.
But
yeah.
I know that this cactus plant over time will
Right.
correct itself.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
same thing with dogs. Behavior issues you could fix. Shy Baby, I'm sure they could have fixed the
Shy Baby they
behavior
could have
issues.
fixed. Shy Baby was
I was
just
saying
shy.
Shy Baby.
Some you can't.
I used to watch the Whisper show, and I thought, you could just take that dog and throw him in with a pack of other dogs, and the dog will come around because the other dogs fix
and
them.
a lot of it too is that a lot of these dogs, once you put them in a shelter environment, it's loud. They're
scary.
It's
Shelter
scary.
age,
They're
yeah.
watching dogs leave and not come back. I mean, people think that these dogs don't process what's going on. Of course they do.
No, they know it's
They
not.
absolutely process.
They know
And
that
they
this
had
is not
done-
norm.
Getting
There was a-
euthanized in front of
Well,
you.
there was a study done down one of the southern shelters, and the dogs realized that if there was a certain person that came and got that dog, all the dogs would get quiet because they knew that they were never seeing their friend come back again because that was the euthanasia tech.
Wow.
And they actually showed it where it would get that the dogs would be going crazy, and then here would come.
But on the good side of animals that humans don't have is animals live in the present. They don't languish in the past.
Yes.
And they don't worry about
If they
tomorrow.
get injured, all of a sudden have three
So
legs. That's it.
they can get over their problems very quickly, in my opinion,
Yes.
because I don't know what their memory ratio is, but they're in the present, and we don't. We live in the past, and we dwell on the
Sure.
future. We dwell on the past and think about the
Sure.
future, and we forget about the now. So that's a good thing that animals have on us. So anyway, so you guys got anything else to say? You got free time here on the
make
camera.
sure that you're registering your pups, register the chip, spay and neuter, and keep this really relevant because it's still gaining traction. We have to make sure that we're getting it out there to get this guy to be resigned and hopefully lose his commissioner.
Now you just remind me something with the microchip and the thing. In the towns, the cops find a dog and it has no collar, no chip or nothing. I always say, are you going to give the owner a citation?
Yeah, that's my always thing too.
Because they don't.
Legally by law, you're supposed to.
Right. So what I'm getting at is like when they do motor vehicle enforcement, it's always at some road where people don't live and they go through.
Right.
They never do it on the local road where they may run into these people in town, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the dog gets out, dogs get out. That they're sentinel beings. But yeah, if you don't have it chipped and you don't have a collar on it, you should get your summonses.
Right.
Maybe
but they
that
never
dog at
answer
large.
that question. No, of course they're not giving that summons because that would make them look like bad guys on Facebook.
Well, that's what happened. When I was doing animal control, they would not allow me to summons. And I had one man whose dog got out.
Now,
3 times in the
who did
same
you
week.
work for?
I did. I used to work for the town that I live in.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and the mayor wanted her to
until I
kill
was
2
told,
dogs.
Until I was told that I needed to illegally euthanize 2 dogs.
Ah.
I will not tell you what I said, but it was not pleasant. Because I don't do things that are illegal and I don't euthanize animals.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
I will say,
you will never be able to blackmail me or bribe me. For stuff like
on a
that.
personal level, I didn't feel good about taking those cats. I felt good about getting them off the street.
Right.
Right.
I didn't feel good about them being euthanized.
Well, here's the thing.
But I understood.
This is what I tell people sometimes in a situation like that where you have an abundance of cats and they're sick, and there are fates worse than death.
Yeah.
There absolutely
Very true.
are.
Right.
And languishing for days and days and days while maggots are eating you from the inside out.
Or sleeping in a flea-infested, damp, water-filled crawl space.
Pus coming out of their eyes and nose, barely able to
and
breathe.
I have seen that on more than one. That's how I know
it's
about
terrible.
it now, because I saw a lot of that.
Yeah, there's
It's
way too
terrible.
many cats out there, but the way to do it obviously isn't just go kill them all, but it's trap, neuter, release.
Right.
Try
I'm
to-
for that because
Yeah.
But again, the trap, neuter, release,
that
you
keeps the
can't
rodents
release them.
down.
You can't release them into the dump because nobody's taking care of them. You have to release them back and get
And what
a
are they
colony
eating?
caretaker.
Stale, rotten food
Absolutely.
with chemicals on it?
Correct.
Yeah, if you had, let's say we had cats back here and I'm feeding them, they're my cats.
Yeah.
If it gets injured, I have to take care of it. I should be charged with animal abuse. If it has babies, that's my responsibility.
Another cat
that's why
shows
you
up. That's the
neuter
whole
it.
point of having a colony caretaker. So you know what's going on with the
Interesting.
colony. You know that I have 4 cats that come every day and feed. All of a sudden, here's a pregnant female that shows up. You got to get that cat now. You can't wait.
Yeah.
And that's where the trap, neuter, release
All right,
comes
so
Well,
we found
I
that.
would implore everybody to email Ross and email all the commissioners.
Demand
that
that
way
the
we can open
prosecutor's
request
office
it.
investigate him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's carrying a gun. He's a I think he has HELO training, which is humane law enforcement.
Yeah, he does have HELO.
And then he's a former cop, so he can carry a gun. He's making these aggressive things towards workers. And this isn't the first time, and it's not the last time, threatening to slice people's throats. I mean, I've run into him. I didn't have that kind of experience because he knows I'm not going to tolerate that. And I'm just going to go back at him.
That's why on the few occasions I've had to deal with him, he's been very nice to me.
Yeah, I mean, even the First Amendment audit that you want to do over there, it's kind of like,
at me
is
like
that public?
that,
Is it private? Yeah.
I can guarantee you that if somebody screamed at me like that,
Oh,
it would not have
if you
ended
screamed
well
at
for
me
him.
like that, I'd be.
It would not have ended well for him.
You can do it to a kid because he doesn't know better.
There would have,
Right.
right, because the kid doesn't know better exactly.
He doesn't want to lose his job.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to lose his job. He's there for the animals.
And Lasitra
He's
did that
doing
because he
something.
knew he could get away with it, and it's not
but
the
he's
first
been
time.
getting away with it.
Right.
And it's not
for
the
10
first time
years.
he done it.
And anybody that's
years.
got information out there, especially paperwork
Yes.
to prove anything, we need it. That way we can go after this guy. You know, I implore you to not condone this guy's behavior, or the Monmouth County SPCA's executive behavior of killing all these dogs and animals and bringing them up from down south. Put your name to it. You know, I like putting my name to things to say, I'm going to stand there, I'm going to be the defender of the voiceless to make sure that they have a voice, and I'm going to make sure you know I'm coming at you. And Ross, I'm coming at you.
Yeah, we're all coming at you. You got me involved, Ross. That's what happened to the chief of English town. I went after him.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
We ended up being friends, and he got
I was
he
the
got
one that
screwed
sent in
up.
the 425-page report to the State Commission of Investigation on the NJSPCA. You should be a little worried.
All right, so finally, what we've learned here that Ross Lasitra, county commissioner, is drawing a $90,000 a year pension thanks to the taxpayers. He used to work for the prosecutor's office. Then he got a job overseeing the law enforcement division of the SPCA, headed by the Monmouth County. Got himself a job again. Imagine that. Imagine you go to your job every day, you retire, and then 6 months later you come back and you collect a pension and a paycheck. You think your employer would do that? Of course not. Then he got, he got $132,000 there, and then he's getting $45,000 as commissioner, and then you told me he's getting money as the Monmouth County.
He sits on the Monmouth County Board of Health and on the Planning and Zoning Board, and they're both listed on his financial disclosure, so it means he's getting some kind of a stipend.
Well, I'm definitely going to get a hold of that financial disclosure
send the link?
because that's, you know, just follow the money and you follow the problems. And
they were ruled as a government agency, and then all of a sudden, with this last ruling, they weren't. So we owned all the property there. We owned all the cars. We owned all that stuff.
Well, my
and all of
original-
a sudden we don't own it anymore. Where do
my
we get our
understanding
money
is that
from?
at the time the county was providing the equipment
And the buildings, and we
well,
owned
for
it.
the law
So
enforcement.
now all of a sudden
No,
went
for
to
everything.
private.
They were determined back when we did the NJSPCA case in 2015. The NJSPCA was determined to be a government entity because of the way that they were put in. They were put
But
in
now
by
it
an act
shows
of
as
legislation.
MONCO SPCA on the vehicles.
Yeah, but they're still. The thing is that as Steve was saying, they were a government entity. Now they're a private entity. Well, that's our taxpayer money. So did you
They're
buy
like,
it?
you know, it's sort of like they're coming off like a school. It's a government entity that's subject to regulations and things. And
Right, but what
But
we're
the
saying
bottom
is,
line
They're
is,
trying to
if
say
we
they're
own
two
this
different
building
entities.
as the government, right, and then all of a sudden it's deemed to be private later on, we still own that. Where's the money? How come we don't
Right,
sell it?
where's
You
the
sold
want to
it.
buy it?
You should
where's
buy
the
it back to the
contract
county.
that exists between the SPCA and that?
Correct.
And that's one, like when I was going after the poop pump boat, that was one of the things we were getting a hold of was the insurance and the contract between them and somebody else. Because we were trying to, you know, if you step back and you start watching, you start seeing somewhere down the road they're
Yep.
connected.
Yes.
So,
As-
incestuous.
They,
It's all
they've
smoke
got
and
some
mirrors.
kind of relationship.
Yeah, and it's definitely it's very incestuous, and even with the shared service agreements that we're coming up with now, I mean, you can't have a shared service agreement with a private entity. That's a government.
Who's paying the
entity.
taxes on that? I guess it's tax exempt, the property?
The property is tax exempt. It's a 501.
Right, so they could be a
But now they're also
501c3
getting-
and
now-
government.
Monmouth County SPCA, they're also getting state money?
They got a $25,000 grant from the state. They got the $500,000 COVID grant, which went from the state to the county to.
And they also
Well,
got a
did the
vehicle.
COVID grant come from the federal government?
That came from the federal down to the state level,
And then they
from the state
dispersed
level,
it.
right? And they dispersed it out. They're getting all of the contract fees, so that's all taxpayer dollars because you're animal control is being paid for by tax dollars. So if you've got a contract with Manalapan,
If my tax money is going to them in some shape or form, then it's subject to public scrutiny.
and that's what we're fighting right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now. It's on
Now, what
appeal.
was quick as we're running out?
Yep.
What was the deal? You went in there with a camera, right? A video camera.
Yeah, a
Was
couple
that
years ago.
And what was the outcome on that?
So at that point, they were a government agency. Again, that building, all that stuff is owned by the public, and all of a sudden now it's not. But yeah, I went in there. You know, it's a government agency. They're like, no, we're not. We're a shelter. Monmouth County owns you
Did the
guys.
police show up?
No, Michael Goldfarb showed up, which is, I guess, a licensed officer, and at that time and now a helo. But I didn't do anything wrong. It's not illegal to be in a government building.
Right.
So, you know, I recorded, and there were some issues in there, and obviously they're lying by deception by saying, oh, well, these dogs, you know, they're a Monmouth County shelter, meanwhile they're from out of state. So you can ask for APHIS forms. So if you bring in a dog from, let's say, North Carolina, you have to do a USDA APHIS 7 form.
APHIS 7001.
So to show that you're transporting the dog. So you get dogs from all over the United States, and you're conning them off as.
Well, I think they
Monmouth
to
County.
do a full disclosure and let you know, hey, this dog was. I mean, it might help the dog if, say, there was something bad happening in North Carolina, there was a landslide, and how then people, there's dogs.
Yeah, and that's different if there's an emergency. Yeah.
Right, that would help people because people could say, oh, poor dog, you know.
But they're doing it as. This
They're doing it as means they're doing it as a money making
Yeah,
scheme.
it's product to them. It's inventory. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
inventory.
Yeah, let's get
So.
the chain going that way, and that's my thing. I want to stop all these different states that just see us as
They're not
a way
fixing their
to
problem. They're just
send
taking
the
their
dogs
problem.
there.
Now, I
giving it to
personally
us.
don't have a problem sending the dogs to another state as long as the shelter is being upfront, and as long as the shelter who gave them the dog is contributing
Well,
to
let the private places
They're
do
not
it.
contributing to anything. They
Right.
literally go down there, pick the dogs up, and all of the responsibility. They do have, if they're after 6 months of age, they do have to have a rabies shot from down there in order to cross over state lines. But again, you can't get any of the paperwork, so I can't tell you if that's being done or not.
So there's a lot of shenanigans going on. So anyway, Steve, Colleen, got anything left to say? Make it quick.
No,
No.
I'm good. No, I
No.
appreciate this. I really appreciate it.
Stay on top of this. We got to get this guy out.
Just so everybody knows, I am here. I am here. This will be the only time you see me behind the camera and here. Anyway, John Van Dyke for New Jersey Exposed with Steve and Colleen Wronko in this day and age. SPCA debacle, Ross LaCitra, we got to get him out of office, period. Next time, people.
And on Facebook, you can go Squirrels, Secret Squirrels of Monmouth County
Secret Squirrels of the
SPCA.
Monmouth County SPCA. We're
All right,
there.
folks. Share this video, get the word out.
Get the word out.